Good evening, one and all present in the session. I, Dr. Amita Soni, Assistant Professor, Presidency University, Bangalore, on behalf of Research Foundation of India, welcomes you to day 5 of 10 days FDP on a step-by-step guide to write a good research paper. The topic for today's session is application of SPSS for data analysis, and our subject expert for the same is Dr. Chanchala Jain. Ma'am is an author, research expert, and academician with an experience of more than 11 years in management and commerce as an assistant professor. She is a co-founder of Urja Counseling and Training Indore. Presently, she is working as an assistant professor in Prestige Institute of Management and Research Indore. She is also the co-coordinator of IQAC at PIMR. As a research expert and trainer, MAM has conducted many workshops and faculty development programs on SPSS module, research paper writing and analysis through R programming. Recently, MAM has completed one research project related to the medical field, which has been presented before the Central Ministry. She has chaired and co-chaired various conferences. MAM has rich experience of more than 10 years in research and also having more than 42 research papers published in various Scopus national and international journals. She has also presented research papers in more than 20 conferences and won 5 Best Papers Award at JIMS Delhi, Pacific University Udaipur, and 3 in Prestige Indore. 4 research scholars pursuing their PhD degree under her able guidance. Ma'am has also guided more than 500 students in their major and minor research projects. As an author, she has also written a book on crucial problem of our society along with a co-author titled as Atmahatya Kyun. I welcome you, ma'am, to take over today's session. Ma'am, I hope I am audible to everyone.
Hi, Amita ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I hope I was audible and
Yes, you're quite audible to me. I hope you're audible to all the participants as well. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And before starting the session, at the onset of the session, firstly, I want to express my gratitude towards the Research Foundation of India, especially the Ajay Jain sir, Saurabh Jain sir, Gupta sir, and entire RFI family that always keep me in their remembrance and giving me opportunities to be the part of such kind of programs. So thank you so much that again you have provided me the opportunity to interact with the inquisitive minds and research oriented minds. Thank you so much. So now, not taking much of your time, I think I can start. So can I start, Amita ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Yeah, thank you so much. So good evening, dear participants, my fellow colleagues, I must say, good evening to everyone. I'm going to start the session as today is the 5th session and we are at the midway of this FDP, although 4 sessions you people have attended. So far now you people have built up the understanding that how to write a paper, and possibly because at today's session I'm going to discuss that how we can understand what are the applications of the software SPSS in the field of data analysis. So far I think I am understanding this thing that you people have built your understanding on the remaining parts, that how to write an introduction, how to work upon the literature review, how to identify the variables, what is the research methodology, how to write the objectives and hypothesis. So if these previous things you people are knowing, that way only we are coming here on the data analysis part. So before proceeding with the today's topic, I'll give you a short quick recap of these things and then I'll move to the today's topic and then I'll share my screen. So firstly, I want to say this thing that as I am a person from the management field, and management is a field or is a branch of social sciences. So generally it is a social science field or it is some other field mainly, or I can say roughly some of the parts or research paper parts or research writing paper or paper writing, some of the parts of paper writing can be the common thing. Like firstly, always we need to write the introduction part of any of the topic which we of our choice or which we are working with some other people. So firstly, whatever topic or title we are deciding upon to work with, what we need to do, we need to identify certain keywords. Those keywords we need to discuss in the research or in the introduction part of the research paper. So this is the important thing. This will create the base for your research paper. So second part, generally we talk about, this is known as the literature review. So usually literature review is means when we write a research paper, generally it comes at the second position, but the journey of writing a research paper only starts with the literature review. That means you need to firstly know this thing, that what exactly firstly the some abstract thing or some particular idea will strike to your mind, or some observation you will do in your environment, and that way you will understand or you will decide upon that you will going to write your research paper on this particular theme. So on the basis of that, you then explore the web or the different social media platforms or different e-platforms, in that you are trying to identify that which type of researches has been carried out by the previous researchers. So this generally we do. After identifying those things, we try to find the gap that which is not fulfilled by the previous researchers or which has not been completed by the previous researchers. So that we try to identify, and that way we come to the this decision that on this particular topic tentatively we can write a research paper. So literature review is usually the very important part of any research paper. So the journey of research paper writing starts with the literature review. Then we explore the things. That means after identifying those things or after identifying the gap, we decide upon that on this particular topic or on this tentative area I can write my research paper. Then we will decide upon a tentative title. I always say that title we write, or the exact title of the paper we always write at the end of the completing of the paper, because sometimes it happens we have started our paper and we have written a particular title to our research paper, but it happens that some way might be our research can be going some other direction. So in that case, tentative idea we can keep in our mind for writing a research paper, and then we will go ahead, and after completing the paper, then we will understand that what we have written in that paper and what is the conclusion of that paper, and that way we can finalize our title. So title according to me should be the last thing that we can finalize. Means only the keywords we can keep in our mind, and that way we can start our journey of writing of a research paper. So next thing, literature review I have already told. So generally it is said that we need to try to find out the recent researches according to the idea which is roaming around in our minds. So that particular thing we need to keep in our mind, because if we are finding the recent researches or recent research papers, that way we are understanding this thing, that this is already covered by the particular or researchers, and that way that thing I do not need to include in my study, and that way it will help us to find or identify the gap. Apart from that, we would be also in a position, after doing the intense literature review, we would be in a position to try to identify the variable for our study. Then apart from that, sometimes it also helps us to develop the hypothesis, means how we can write the hypothesis. So for hypothesis development also we can take the help of the previous researches, that is the literature review. Then talking about the research methodology, which type of methodology has been used by the previous researchers, that also we can understand by the previous literature review or by the literature review. And at the end, when we have done the analysis part and we have written the interpretation part of our study, also we need to discuss our findings in context to the previous researches. So again, it will, or role of literature review will come here. So that way literature review is nothing, it is a backbone for any research study or for any research paper. So always we need to read papers before writing any research paper of the particular field in which we want to write a research paper. After that, after literature review, we will go ahead and we will write the rationale, that is what is the purpose behind writing that research paper that you can write. Then we will write the objectives of the study. So if we are able to find that what are the variables, according to those you can formulate your objectives, and your objectives will always help you to write your hypothesis. Then after hypothesis, we usually write the research methodology. So research methodology is what? It is nothing but it is a kind of direction we are getting using the literature review. So it is kind of a blueprint. Research methodology is always known as the blueprint, or it is like a map which will always guide you that how now you need to move ahead to complete your research journey or research paper. So that is why it should be so strong, a research methodology which can always assist you, can always help you, and which can take you to the culmination part of your research paper. Then next thing which comes after the research methodology is the generally data analysis. So today I am going to talk on that particular part. So after data analysis, we will do the interpretation part for the research paper. And then what we do, we usually write the findings, discussion, conclusion, and at the end, implication and the limitations. So generally, these are the components of a good research paper. And at the end, you need to write references, and then you need to use your appendices, if any you are having. So that way, this is the generally structure of a research paper. But today, I need to talk upon the data analysis part that we can do using the SPSS. So give me a second. I'm going to share my screen. Amita ma'am, can you confirm me, or anyone can confirm me whether my screen is visible or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for confirmation. So, dear all, today I'm going to talk about that what are the applications of SPSS in the field of data analysis. So, I think we all know this thing that SPSS is short for the Statistical Package for Social Sciences. So, as today I'm going to talk about the application part, so I'll tell you that the scope or the area of SPSS is not restricted to the social science field only. Even the area is nowadays wider, because some in other fields, like as I think Amita ma'am has mentioned during my introduction, that recently I have completed one research project related to the medical field. So it is not like that we can use SPSS in the social science field only. So I have used this particular software SPSS in my research project also. So in that medical field also, I have used this particular software. So that is why I'm saying this thing, that the area nowadays has widened now of SPSS. It is not restricted to only the social science field. So the thing is that generally SPSS is most widely used, or it is very quaint term which we have usually listened when we are starting our research journey. As I have started my journey, even in that case, I think it has started in the year 2010. So in the 2010, I have heard this thing that there is a software called SPSS. Using that, we can do the analysis. But that time I was very new to the research, so I was not much knowing about that. But after that, when I have go ahead, and then when I came to the year around 2013 or 14, when I have done my analysis part, at that time I have used this SPSS. So the SPSS is the tool, or this is a software which is most widely used. Purpose that why it is most widely used is that the reason behind this is that usually it is nothing but it is a mouse driven type of software. Generally it is a click and run type of software. So that means if I want to perform some type of analysis on the data, I can go to the menu of the SPSS wherever that particular tool or statistical test will be available. We can explore that, and that way we can apply that particular tool on the data available on that particular file. So that is why, because we do not need to do any coding for SPSS. I think you people are also knowing recently two languages named as Python and R. These are the most trendy languages, because we can it is not like that we can go for the coding part, we can only do the coding of the things using these two languages. Even if we want to do the statistical analysis, even in that case also these languages are very good. And thing is, these are free of cost available, so usually people can think for that also. But the thing is that as I am not a IT background people, or maybe people those who are not from the IT background, they feel little bit they feel like they cannot do the coding, and that is why they do not want to work with those languages. So for that purpose, there is a software named as SPSS. Using that, we can easily perform the analysis. So the next thing, SPSS is a comprehensive and flexible type of software. Using this particular software, we can do the statistical analysis, and also we can manage the data. So that way, it is widely used by the users or researchers or statisticians. Then, as you can see, it is written, it is nothing but it is a computer program, because it is a software. So that is why we can call SPSS is a computer program, or it is a software. So it is not like that we can perform only the statistical analysis using SPSS, but also we can perform data mining, we can do the text analytics, we can do the collaboration and deployment of the data. So these kind of things we can perform using this particular software. Next thing, which is very important from the point of view of SPSS, and it is that SPSS can handle or can work with the various types of file. That means if I have a various different types of extensions, extension file, like suppose I have an Excel file, or suppose I have a suppose CSV file if I am having, or I am having some other extension file. So even that those files I can easily import in SPSS. So the meaning is that SPSS supports various kinds of extension, and that way if we are having any different kind of extension file, that we can easily import in SPSS, and that way we can perform analysis part. Now, talking about the features of SPSS. So as the first bullet point is saying to us, it is very easy to learn, or it is very easy to use. So as I just said, that SPSS is what? Using SPSS, or I can say SPSS is the menu driven software, or SPSS is the click and run type of software. Means using SPSS, you do not need to be bothered about the coding part. Everything is already done by the programmers. Using that particular software, you can only go to that particular menu, you can access that particular statistical tool, and you can apply that on the data. Means with the little guidance, you can easily understand that how we can work with the SPSS. Next, it includes full range of data management system and the editing tools. So if we want to manage the data, if we want to do sorting of the data, or anything other type of things we want to perform on the data, that all we can do using SPSS. Then talking about statistical capabilities or statistical test range. So again, SPSS has a wide range of statistical tools available, and that we can easily use on the data. So according to our purposes, we can decide upon which test we want to apply on the data, that we can apply using the SPSS. So it offers completely plotting, reporting, and presentation features. So using SPSS, you can plot data also, means we can go for the data visualization also using SPSS. If we want to create reports, that also we can do using SPSS. And if we want to present our data using those table or pivot table form, we can do that also in the SPSS. Talking about how we can bring data into SPSS. So to bring data into SPSS, there are 4 ways. The very first way is we can create a new SPSS data file. So after completing this conceptual aspect, I'll take you through the SPSS window also, and there I'll explain you these things. So the first thing is creating new SPSS data files. So using the SPSS, we can go to the file menu, we can open a fresh file, and we can enter data by our own. That is known as the manual entry of the data in the SPSS file. Second one is opening existing SPSS system files. So when people use, or if anyone downloads this software from the IBM website, So when you download the software, in that particular folder, you will also get some system files. Some data files is also given there in that particular downloading of this SPSS software. So we can also use that file for our purposes to perform or to give demo to the users, that how we can perform analysis on such kind of data sheets. Then either it is a ASCII file, or either it has some other formats of the file. Whatever file extension of the file is there, we can import that. We can import that file into the SPSS if we want to bring data from some other sources into the SPSS. Then talking about entering data. So, and for entering the data, there are two things if I talk about in entering data. First thing is the data editor. So those who have already seen SPSS, I think many of you have already seen, I think, or I can say all of you have already seen that what is the screen of SPSS and how it works. So those who are knowing, they are knowing that there is a data editor window. In the data editor window, you will find the two toggle buttons, which would be at the left hand lower corner side. In those toggle button, you can find there are two windows. First window is the data window, and second window is the variable window, that is data view and the variable view. So I'll show you one by one. So this is the image I have taken from my SPSS file. You can see here, this is known as the data editor window. Here at the lower left corner, you can see that there are two toggle buttons. We can toggle between these two buttons. That is the data view, and this is the variable view. So when we talk about the first button, this is the data button. Second one is the variable view. You can see the difference in the color of these two buttons. So the second color is the yellowish type of color. So that means presently this window is activated. So that means this, which you can see here, this is the variable view of the SPSS data editor window. So here what we need to do, we can easily create our variables here. So here you need to define the name, and that way we will work in this particular thing. So this is also, I'll show you when we will move to the SPSS window, that how we can create these variables there. So that way, this particular facility of the variable view window provides us that how you can create your variable, how you need to define what should be this, what is the scale of your variable, that all we can define here. Next window is the data view window. So you can see presently this particular button is yellowish, in yellowish color. That means presently the data view window is activated. So here whatever variable you will create in the variable view, that you can see as the column heading of the data view window, and that way you can enter the data here. Or if you are importing the file, and if already names is defined in that particular file of those variables, so that way what SPSS does, when you import any data in SPSS, if already the variable name are written as the first row, so SPSS understand this thing, that first line or first row is of particular file is what, it is the name of the variable. So that way it shows all of them in the heading of those columns. So that way this is known as the data view of data editor window of SPSS. Now the question comes, can we save the data in SPSS or not? So answer is yes, you can save the data in SPSS. And when you will save the data in SPSS, the extension of the file would be .sav. So that you can save also, and for future purpose, if you want to work on the same file, you can easily open it and then you can start working on the same file. Then talking about the variables, so as I have shown you the variable view of SPSS, so here you can see that when we talk about variables, firstly, what do you mean by variables? So variables are what? These are the user defined name of a particular type of the data to hold information. Generally, we say this thing, that variable what? Variable which varies, which can take any value. But we have to give a suitable name so that we can understand what type of value this particular variable is taking. So that way this is known as the variable. Now, what types of variable can be in SPSS? So there are total 7 types of variable we can create. That is numeric variable, comma variable, dot, scientific notation, date, custom currency, and lastly the string. From the research point of view, usually we use the numeric, and very rarely we use the string. Sometimes if we have the data in the form of dates, so we can also use this date, this date variable type we can also use. So if suppose we are having the data of dollar or euro or some other currency, so in that case we can use the custom currency, but remaining are very rarely used by the researchers. But if you are belonging to the scientific field, in that case you can use the scientific notations also. Now, how we can create variable in SPSS. So there are certain rules which you need to keep in your mind before defining the variable in SPSS. So the first rule is names must begin with a letter. Means you cannot start the name of your variable with any number or with any special character. So always the name with begin with any alphabet or any letter. Then names must not end with a period. Period means the dot sign. So if we are, suppose I have written gender and then I have kept there a dot. So that way, when you will switch from that particular line to other line or other row, that way SPSS will give you some warning or some error message. Then names cannot contain space between two words. It is very important to understand. Say for example, I have written the name of the variable is as suppose the age of participants. So in that case, if I have kept the space between age and of and the participants, so that way SPSS will not allow you to do so. In that case, if you are writing like this and you are switching from that cell to other cell or that row to other row, SPSS will throw some error to you. So if you want to write your variable name using more than one word, so in that case, you need to either use underscore sign or you can use the period sign. Period means the dot sign. Then name cannot start with these special characters like dollar, hashtag, exclamation, and the ampersand sign. So these four I have written here. So if you are using these four special characters to start the name of your variable, SPSS will not allow you to do so. But if you want to use them in the name of your variable, that you can use. In between you can keep them, or at the end you can keep them. Then name must be unique. I think if suppose for example I have created gender and again I want to create gender, so that way SPSS will not allow you to do so. So if I want to create the same variable, so in that case either I need to use some number. Say for example I have written first variable name as gender, second I can write as gender1 or gender underscore participant or something like that I can write to create the same variable with two other names. Then names are not case sensitive in the SPSS. So if we are working in SPSS, so for SPSS is not a case sensitive type of software. So say for example there is a variable which we have created as gender, and sometimes if we are writing it as gender or like writing gender in this particular fashion also, so that way in any way it would be gender for SPSS. So there is no other meaning for SPSS for this type of gender. Then talking about the menus of SPSS, so there are various menus available in SPSS. The very first menu is the file menu. So file menu is like some other software. I think software like we are working with Word document, we are working with MS Excel, we are working with MS Word also, then MS PowerPoint also. So in almost in each and everywhere we have seen this file menu. So the working of file menu will also be same here in SPSS. So say for example, if we want to open some existing file, in that case we can use the file menu. We want to open a new file, that way also we can use the file menu. If we want to save a file, if we want to exit a file, for performing these type of tasks we can use the file menu. Apart from that, when we talk about opening a new file, so that file can be of any type. It can be a data file, it can be a syntax file, it can be an output file, or it can be a script file. So in although I think those who are not from the coding background or from those who are not from the IT background, so generally for them there is no use of the syntax and script. You can only use these data and output files we can open in SPSS. Then talking about the second menu, that is the edit menu. So again, the working of edit menu or the facility available under the edit menu would be same as the other softwares. It is generally we are using for cutting or cut, copy, paste. These are the three fancy words. I think usually we are using these things nowadays. We can take the content from anywhere, we cut that or copy that and paste in our files, or we have seen these type of practices in students also, as I am from academics background, so I am very used to of these things. So these types of tasks we can perform using this edit menu. Now talking about the next menu named as the view menu. So if we want to talk about the view menu, so view menu allows us to select various kinds of toolbars, whatever bars we want to see presently in that particular or existing file, or in the file which we are working with. In that, whatever toolbars we want to open using the view menu, we can do so. Apart from that, if we want to change the font size of our file, again we need to take the help of view menu. If we want to add or remove the grid lines, so that I'll show you when we will move to the SPSS window, that how we can use these things in the SPSS window. So such kind of task we can perform using the view menu. Talking about the data menu, so data menu is a menu which allows us to select several options, which is ranging from displaying the data that is sorted by a specific variable to selecting the certain cases for subsequent analysis. I think it is little the technical thing which is written here, so I'll try to make it little easier for you to understand. When we talk about data menu, so data menu, it provides you the range of the options. In that, using that, we can do the, say for example, I want to sort my data for a specific variable, I want to sort my data. So using the sort option available inside this menu, we can do that. Apart from that, also if we want to perform some other things, that also that means it data menu usually works from the point of view of displaying of the data in the file. So all the related things would be available in this menu that can change your display. Talking about the transform menu, so from name itself it is very clear. Transform means it will transform something from one form to other form. It will transform the thing. So there are options. Say for example, there is a variable I am having in the file, so I want to transform that variable. If I want to record the values of that variable, so using the transform menu, that I can do. So recording we can done using the transform menu. If some type of computation I need to perform on the data or the variables which we are having in the file, that also we can do. I think those who have done work with the say for example factor analysis, those who have already done or they are knowing how to perform that, they are knowing this thing, that after performing the factor analysis, I think we are knowing this thing, that some of the variables or some of the items would be grouped by the factor analysis performance, right? So that way, if I want to make, because factor analysis will give you some of the factors instead of so many, instead of n items, it will give you the few number of factors. So say for example, I have total 30 items on my scale. After performing factor analysis, it has converted into the 6 factors. So that way I need to name them, and after that we will work with that particular factors only. So what we can do, either we can sum those items, or either we can take the averages of those items, and that way we can create these factors in the same file. So in that case, transform menu will help you to perform such kind of computation. So this is the role of transform menu in SPSS window. Then talking about the analyze menu. So this is the most important menu of SPSS, because if I want to perform any statistical test, anything, whether it is a parametric or non-parametric, everything would be available inside the analyze menu. So this is the only menu from where you can access or you can get the statistical test you want to perform on your data. So next menu is the graph menu. I think from graph menu, easily you can relate this thing, that if I want to plot certain types of graphs in SPSS, like box plot, histogram, line, scatter plot, anything that we can do using the graph menu. Next one is the utilities. So it allows us to see the information of the particular file, that how many variables are there, what are their labels, what are their values, what is the location of that data file, etc. These type of things for that particular file we can get using the utilities menu. Next one is the add-ons menu. So add-ons menu is, from the name it is very clear, add-ons. So it will add something to the SPSS. So if we want to add certain packages to SPSS, that we can do, but it is a little tricky thing. Those who are beginner to SPSS, or those who have started their research journey, research, say for example research scholars or students, I think being on beginner, we cannot take the help of this particular thing if we are not knowing much thing about the SPSS and how we can add on other things in SPSS. So this is only for understanding purpose, that if we want to add some other programs in SPSS, that we can do using this add-ons menu. Next menu, or the second last menu, is the window menu. So window menu is what it will use to select that, or presently which window you want to see, data editor window, output viewer, or the syntax. So accordingly, using this particular menu, we can select that particular window which we want to see. And lastly, the help window, it is like a god for us for SPSS, because it is a helping hand from the SPSS, which is providing us, or which is giving us the guidance. So wherever we are stucking while working with SPSS, we can use this particular help menu and we can try to resolve our problem using this menu. So this way, these are the menus of the SPSS. Now talking about how we can perform data analysis using SPSS. So for performing analysis in using SPSS, firstly you need to prepare your file. Many a times it happens that we collect data using various sources. I think this is the thing which I'm talking about. It is very past thing, that usually when we talk about early 2000 or something, so that time usually what people do, they usually take the printout of the questionnaire and they go in the field and they collect their data. But nowadays the things are little easier, or I think I must say the things are very easier for us using the Google form, or there are so many different applications are available. Using that we can collect the data. So if we are collecting the data through the online sources, so it is very easy for us. We can easily convert that particular file, or we can easily code that file. So that way, firstly we need to prepare our file, whatever file, or on whatever file we want to perform the analysis. Then we can import that file into the SPSS. After that, we can provide the precise instruction to the SPSS that this is what we want to perform on this data, and then we can get the results. After getting the results, we need to examine. Might be possible in some cases. I think as this is a one-day session, I don't know. I can't say this thing that I'll show you or not, but I'll try to show you this thing, that sometime it happens using various statistical tests. It also gives us some types of charts and graphs. So when you are getting the output, we are getting the graphs and charts along with the tables of the output. So that you need to examine properly, and on the basis of the examination of your chart, graphs and tables, you will give, or you will write here the suggestion and conclusion, whatever analysis you have done. So this way, this is the process of the performing data analysis using SPSS. Now talking about SPSS application. So it, as I said, that now the area is very wider. It is not restricted to social science field only. Now we can use SPSS for analyzing the marketing data, or there are concept called like cluster analysis, or there is a concept called discriminant analysis. These are factor analysis also, we can say, generally widely used in the marketing, but it is not that factor analysis we can only use in marketing, but these are certain things which are generally pertaining to marketing field. So such kind of analysis also we can perform using the SPSS. Then healthcare sector also, we can say that in healthcare sector also we can use the SPSS. And then talking about most importantly the educational research. So I think I don't know, because I'm not knowing all of you. We have not met previously, so maybe possibly most of you are from the education field. So as the title of this FDP is the research paper writing, so I think I can assume this thing that most of you are from the education field. So in education research, generally, or most of us generally using this particular software. So whatever types of hypotheses we are having, whatever types of descriptive statistics we want to perform, that all we can do using the SPSS software. Talking about which kind of analysis we can perform on the data we are having. So here you can see on the basis of number of variables. That means whatever number of variables we are having, all type of analysis we can perform. So here you can see either we are having univariate data, or we are having bivariate data, or we are having multivariate data. Univariate means when we are having a single variable in the data or in the particular file. So even for that also we can perform analysis using SPSS. If we are having two variables or two variables data we are having, for that also we can perform the analysis using SPSS. And lastly, if we are having more than two variables in the data sheet, also we can perform the multivariate analysis on that data. So it is totally depending what type of variables we are having. SPSS provide you the range of the statistical tests that you can perform on such kind of data. Now, on the basis of population parameters, so I think most of you are knowing this thing, that there are parametric tests, there are non-parametric tests. So for all these two categories, the ranges of the tests, range of the tests available in the SPSS that we can perform easily using SPSS. Now, on the basis of purpose, say for example, I want to summarize my data. So I'll go for the descriptive statistics. But if I want to infer something from my data, I want to perform inferential statistics on that data. So both type of things are also available. Means if you want to perform descriptive statistics, that also you can do. If you want to perform inferential statistics, that also you can do using SPSS. Now this is very important from this slide till last slide. I think these 4-5 slides are very important for all of you to understand. Probably you have understood this thing yesterday also. As yesterday also you have understood that how you can perform analysis using Excel. So for performing any kind of analysis, firstly you need to have the understanding of the type of variable and the number of variable you are having. On the basis of that, we can decide upon that which kind of test we can perform on the data. So the very first thing which I'm showing you here, that is test for analyzing a single categorical variable. So if we are having a single categorical variable, so what kind of test we can perform using SPSS? So these are the two variety available. Binomial test we can perform, and second is the simple, that is the chi-square goodness of fit test we can perform. So there in chi-square there are two variety available. First one is the goodness of fit, second one is the independence of attributes. So if you are having a single categorical variable, you can perform only chi-square goodness of fit, or you can perform binomial test on that particular data, variable data. Second is test for analyzing relationship between two categorical variables. So if you are having two categorical variables available with you, you can perform either chi-square independence of attributes, that is known as contingency test, and second you can perform Fisher's exact test. If you are having, or if I say that test we want to perform for analyzing a single numerical variable. Numerical variable means continuous scale variable or interval or ratio scale variable. So if I am having such kind of variable and that is single variable available with me, in that case we can perform one sample t-test, and second one is the sign test for median. So there is a difference in these two tests, one sample t-test and the sign test for median. So generally sign test for median, because this one sample t-test is based on the mean value. So if any of the assumptions, so I think I must say this thing too here, for usually for each and every statistical test there are certain assumptions. So if assumption usually as a tradition or as a what I can say compulsion, I think always we need to firstly check that assumptions of that test, and then if all the assumptions are meeting by the data, only then you need to perform that test. So if suppose I have some data, suppose I have a data of weight of the students available with me, and I want to perform one sample t-test. So in that case, you can perform that, but before performing that, you need to check the assumptions. If assumptions are not meeting of the one sample t-test, you can move to the sign test for median. Now, test with a numerical response variable and explanatory categorical variable. So I think those who are good in a research field, those who are good in RM part, they are knowing these terms. If not, so don't bother. I'm trying to making these things little easier for you. So I'll tell you firstly, numerical response variable. That means the dependent variable if it is on the continuous scale or either on interval scale or on ratio scale. Then explanatory variable means the variable which are independent. So there are generally two types of variable, dependent and independent. So response variable means the dependent variable, explanatory variable means the independent variable. So if dependent variable is numerical and independent variable is categorical. So in that case, these are the ranges of the tests available which you can perform. First one, two sample t-test, then paired t-test, then one-way ANOVA and Tucky test, and Wells t-test and multi-way ANOVA. So these are the various categories available which we can perform on that data. I think for this session purpose only I am showing you these things, but these all tests vary according to the purposes, according to your objectives, which type of thing you want to find. According to that, you need to decide from the range that this test is appropriate for my data set. So this is you need to keep in your mind. It is not like for any data you can perform any of the tests. That means, let me say this thing, that I have a one dependent variable which is on numerical scale, second independent variable on the categorical scale. So it is not like that I can pick any of the tests from here. So you need to be get clarity in these things, that which test would be suitable. It would be depending upon your objective and also depending upon the what I can say, the requirement of these tests. Only that way you will decide this thing, that this test would be the appropriate test for my data set. Then test with a numerical response variable and an explanatory categorical variable. So this is, we are talking in terms of non-parametric category. So if assumptions of parametric tests are not fulfilling, in that case we are coming to the non-parametric test category. So here we have two options, Mann-Whitney U test, and second one is the Kruskal-Wallis test. So again, Mann-Whitney U test is available, or this is the substitute for the parametric test, that is independent samples t-test. Similarly, Kruskal-Wallis test is the substitute for one-way ANOVA. So if assumptions of these tests are not meeting in the parametric category, in that case we can move to the non-parametric category and we can use these two tests. Now, I think this is the last one, the test for analyzing the relationship between numerical or categorical variables. So say for example, if we are interested to see the relationship between the variables. So if variables can be numerical or they can be categorical also. So purpose is finding the relationship. So we can use the simple linear regression, linear correlation, Spearman's rank correlation, or we can use general linear model. So this way, these are the things you need to keep in your mind while working on your research paper. So this is all from my side for the conceptual aspect. If you have any queries, you can ask me, or else I'll move to the SPSS and let you or show you then how we can work with that. So if you have any queries, you are most welcome. You can ask me. Yes.
And can we get any script version for students for practice purpose?
Sir, I'm not getting. Can you repeat?
And for practice by the students, can we get any free version of SPSS for
Okay,
1 month
okay.
or
Okay, I think I forgot to mention this thing, sir. SPSS is a costlier type of software. So only the trial version is available, which we can download. But thing is, it is only for a month. And problem is that
which month?
yeah. So problem is that with this particular software is either you need to arrange it from any particular institute which are having the license version, or I think ethically it is not correct if I'll say you can use the correct version also, but ethically it is not correct. So I'll not say this thing, but try to find any organization which is having this particular test or tool available, and that way I think you can easily work with this. Otherwise, it is difficult to work with SPSS. Only the trial version available, and that is only for the 1 month period. So that is the biggest limitation of using SPSS. Yes. So can I move ahead? Any other query? I guess no. So give me a second.
No, ma'am. You
Yeah,
can
thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I am proceeding now, and we will use now the SPSS. So give me a second. I'll show you the SPSS window. Just a minute. I think where I am. Where is Zoom? Yeah. Uh, Anyone will confirm me my screen is visible or not?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I think I have opened a old file. I'll start from how we can open a fresh file. So those who have installed or those who are having this software, they can easily search in their desktops or in their laptops. They can type SPSS and that way you can open it. So if you are having already open one file is already opened with you and you want to open a fresh file, so for that what you can do, you can go to the file menu, then you can go to the new and you can click here on data.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am, but your Google Meet screen is there. Means you have to change the tab which you are explaining.
SPSS window is not visible.
No, no, ma'am. Your Google Meet screen is visible.
Is it okay? Just a minute. Let me stop sharing my screen. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
I have done the entire screen sharing. Okay. Now,
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Now it is visible. Yes.
yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you can see presently I'm starting from the scratch here for the SPSS. This is the existing file which I have already opened. But if suppose, as I said, if you are already having this software, you can go to the search or that is the main toolbar, and there you can type SPSS. That way you would be able to open this. But if one file is open and you want to open some new file, so what you need to do, you can go to the file menu, then you can click on the new, and then you can select data. Once you will click on data, the new fresh file will be open for us. So here this is a fresh file. As I said, these are the two toggle buttons which you can see. Presently the data view, you need to pay attention on the lower left corner where I'm rotating my mouse. Here you can see the data view is presently activated window because the color of this particular button is blue, is yellow. Now, when I'll click on variable view, you would be able to see the variable view or the second window of the SPSS data editor window. So now I'll tell you how we can firstly create the variable. So for the purpose, I'm going to the variable view. So here I'm coming and defining the name of my variable. So suppose I have written here 1 and then I am writing gender. So you can see I have typed 1 and then I have written gender, and still I am on the same cell. So now what you need to do, you need to, when I press the tab button, I have pressed tab here, you are able to see that we are getting one problem or one error message from the SPSS. It is showing variable name contains an illegal first character. So that means the thing I have said during the slides, I said this thing that we cannot start the name of variable with the number. So if I want to write, suppose this time I am writing dollar and then gender. Now I am pressing the tab. Again, it is showing me invalid variable name. So that also I cannot do. So suppose this time I'm simply writing gender. You can see when I have switched or I have pressed tab button from my keyboard. So it is showing me that it is created and some of the cells or some of these column values has already been filled by the SPSS. So these are the by default values for these parameters. So one more thing I'll show you here. If I have written, suppose gender of participant. I'm switching from this cell to the next cell. So again, you can see we are getting a problem or error that variable name contains an illegal character. So in that case, if you want to define the name of your variable using more than one words, you need to use these either underscore or dot, or that is period sign. This. Now you can see we are not getting any problem. But as I said, generally the variable name we need to keep concise. You do not need to try to do all these things here. So that way I'm writing here only gender. Try to keep the name of your variable in one word. This is only a suggestion. Rest is up to you. Then when I have created my variable name, now you can see second parameter, which is the type of the variable. It is showing us numeric. So as I already shown you, you can see when I have come to this particular cell, there are three dots. You need to click on those dots. So this variable type box will be open for you, and all types of variable type are given here. So by default, whatever variables SPSS create, it creates the variable as a numeric type. So I'll show you when I'll come to the data view. You can see gender is created already. Now, if suppose I want to write here male, as gender can be male or female. So I have written here this. Now I'm coming down to the next cell. You can see the value has, or whatever the observation I have entered, it is disappeared now. So the reason of this is that this particular variable which we have created in the variable view, the type of this variable is numeric. So if I want to enter some character data or some string data, in that case I need to change its type. I need to make it string instead of numeric. But as SPSS is a quantitative package, quantitative data set, and I think those who are already working on research field, they are knowing this thing. Generally we need to convert our categorical variable also in the numeric form like this. So this way you can see we are not getting any trouble, we are not getting any problem. So again, I'm coming back to the variable view. Now next is the width. Width is what by default its value is 8. So by default it is showing me width is not applicable for numeric. But if we will set its type as string, in that case it will take only 8 characters. So this is the meaning of the width column here, or width parameter here, talking about decimals. So by default it will show you up to the 2 decimal point, but for gender, as we have written there 1 or 2, so I think there is no use of this. So you can use these upper and down arrows here, and using this you can make it 0. Label is what? It is nothing, but it is it is one more way of elaborating your name of the variable in a better manner. Means for the understanding purpose, suppose I have written there the gender. So if I want to write gender of participant, gender of student, whatever I want to write here, without any problem keeping space between the 2 or more than 2 words, we can write that in the label. And it is always suggestive from my side that whenever you are working in SPSS, always try to write the detailing about your variable, because many a time it happens we are using the existing or the same file for more than 2 or 3 research papers. So in that case, if you are using, suppose I have written one paper and I have completed one paper today. After 1 month, I have decided that using those variables, now I'll perform this and I'll write some other paper. So if you are referring the same file, might be possible after a month or 2 months, you forgot what is the exact meaning of that variable name. So in that case, this label will always rescue you. This will always help you out to understand what is the exact meaning of the variable which you have created in SPSS. So this is only the suggestive part from my side. Next is the values. So here when I'm coming to this cell, again you can see 3 dots are activated here. So once I'll click on this, you can see the value label box will be opened in front of us. So here as I have entered 1 2 1 2 1 2 in the gender variable, so I'm writing here 1, means value I have given 1. I want to label it as suppose male, and then I can add this. Then 2 is what? 2 is what? 2 is the female, and that way I can add it. Now if I want to make any changes, suppose I am selecting this, so you can see once I have selected this, remove button is activated. now suppose I want to write one for M, and that way you can see next button is coming as change. So when I'll press this button, it will replace, or mail will replace by M. So similarly, I'm coming to this. If I am making this as female or F only, I can change this and then I can press OK. So once I'll done OK, whatever changes we have made, that would be saved by SPSS. So now this is the value parameter or values parameter. Next parameter is the missing. So when we talk about missing in SPSS, there are two types of missing values: the system defined or system missing value, and second one is the user missing value. So here this missing is for the user missing value. So say for example, once I have clicked on those three dots, you would be able to see this dialog box, missing dialog box, missing values dialog box. By default, SPSS is taking it as no missing values, means there is no missing value in this particular gender variable. But deliberately, if you want to keep that particular or some of the field or some of the observation missing from the for the analysis purpose, that you can do using this particular option. So next one is the discrete missing value. So once I click on this, you can see these three boxes are activated. So here I can define up to the three missing values for that variable. So I think in general only we have two values. So say for example, I have written a paper in that I have compared two, or I have compared anything or particular thing on the basis of gender, male and female both. But in my next paper, suppose I want to concentrate on only one thing, either on male thing or on the female thing. So in that case, I will not delete that particular data. Rather than doing that, I will come here and I'll write here suppose one, because I want to perform analysis on female only. So this way SPSS will understand this thing, that they want to, or the user want to only do the analysis for the second category, and one would be the missing value for SPSS at that time. Coming to the next, range plus one optional discrete missing value. So here what you need to do, it is giving you a range. You can define the lower limit and you can define the higher limit. So that way it will keep that particular range data missing from your analysis. Similarly, apart from that, there is one more option given. Say for example, I am dealing with the age variable. So I have collected the data from the age group of 15 to suppose 65 or more than 65. But for particular purpose, I do not want to I do not want to include all the age groups or all the age person for my analysis. So using this option, we can give, suppose I do not want to include the minors data. So from 15 to 17, I can define here 15 and then I can write here 17. Apart from that, I do not want to go the upper range also. I do not want to include the people who are having the age of more than 60 years. So exact maybe sometime it happens we can see our data in one go, and that way suppose we have seen that all the people are belonging to this particular age group, but one is the weird age group we are looking, maybe a person who is belonging to suppose more than 70 years, and we do not want to include. So that way we can write here 72. So that way it will use low and high, that is a range, and apart from that one more discrete value this particular option can take. So that way you can use this. So I think I am not using anything here. I'm going with the no missing value and I'm pressing OK. So this is the meaning of missing. This is the user defined missing. Next one is the columns. Columns is help us to display the number of entries or number of data at a time in that particular cell. So I'll show you how it works. Say for example, I'm coming to the data menu. Now you can see I'm stretching this particular column. So previously its column width was the 8. Now you can go to the variable view and you can see it's the 29 right now. So that way you can if I want to see or want to see, suppose this is a name column or suppose it is an address variable. So in that case, I want to see all the things which are written there, or I want to display all the things or all the entries or all the text which has entered in that particular cell. So that way, or in that particular column, so that way we can increase this size, its size. So that way only it is means the column work is only for the beautification purpose that we are using it. Then next one is the alignment. So I think alignment, we all are most aware about this particular thing because we are already working, or all of us have worked with the MS Word, MS Excel, etc. So alignment is, it will align, means whether you want to keep your data or observations left align, right align, or the center align. So this way, all these three categories are available. You can decide upon whatever alignment you want to keep of your data. This is the most important thing. This is the measurement skills. I hope it is already has been covered by the previous experts. So measure is what this will tell us, that what is the measurement scale of your variable. So usually we are knowing that there are 4 measurement scales: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. But in SPSS there are only 3 scales: nominal, ordinal, and scale. So this scale is what it will club interval and the ratio. So if your variable is on if your variable is on interval scale, or it is on the ratio scale, that also for both the variables you can select its type as measurement scale as scale. So this you can do, but here we have created a gender variable, and the appropriate scale would be the nominal scale. That way you can do this. Now role, so this is the suggestive thing from my side. Whatever is the by default setting of SPSS, you should go with that only. That is the input. So this way we can create variable. Now coming to the next, again I have come to the data view window here. I think file menu, you can understand, you can open a file, you can open a new file, you can open an existing file, you can import the data, you can save a file. Like these are the different works you can do. And now I'll tell you how you can import the data in SPSS. So for that there are various options available. First one is, you can go to the file menu, then you can go to the import data. From here you can decide the types of file you are having, whether your file is of Excel or it is of the CSV file, text file, anything. So suppose I have selected here the Excel. So once I have selected here Excel, you can see it is asking me, it is giving me nothing, no file it is showing me. So the reason is that in the login you can see the location is the missing value analysis. So possibly there is no Excel file available. So for the purpose, you need to give the proper location from there from where you want to pick the file. So suppose I want to pick my file. I think this is not the correct. Yes. So suppose I am coming to the basics of SPSS, and here we have one file which is extension of the file is .xlsx. This is the Excel file. Name of the file is the T data. So I have selected this file. I need to only open this file. Once I'll click on open, yeah, it is taking some time. So give me a few seconds. It is taking some time. So I think that way it will open. Other way I'll tell you, you can click on this particular icon. This is named as open data. It is not allowing me to do work with this. I think there is some problem. So give me a second. It is not allowing me to click anything. Maybe it is taking some time in opening the file or something. So meanwhile, if you have any queries, you can ask me so that we can, yeah, it has come now. So you can see this is the way this type of message will come to you. It will show you the some of the few of the first 4-5 columns it will show to you. So I think there are only 3 columns in the file. So it is showing to us. But if you are opening an Excel file and there are various worksheets available in that file, so that way you can click on this drop down arrow, and it will show you the range of sheets in that data has contained by you or something. So that way that particular worksheet you can select and that you can import here in SPSS. So I think I have only one worksheet in that file. I can click on OK. So once I'll click on OK, you can see this file has now opened by SPSS. So this way, this is the one way of importing the data file. Second, you can use this open icon, and here you can give a proper location, and then you need to come here files of type. Previously it is .sav. So you can click on this drop down button, and then you can select whatever types of data file you want to open, that you can select. So if that file would be available at that folder, it will show you. If it is not available, you need to select here the proper location from where you want to pick the file. And then you can click on open, and rest is the same which I have just shown you. Similarly, using this file menu, you can go to the open, you can go to the data, and then same dialog box will come. So that way we can easily import a file in SPSS. So this is known as the importing of data file in SPSS. Now, if I talk about the view menu, so it is showing various types of toolbars which you want to which you want to see in your particular file, so that you can select. Apart from that, if I want to increase the font size, so I can click here on the fonts. Now here, suppose I selected 14, I can click on OK. You can see now the font size has increased. So those who are looking at the screen, I think they are now feeling a little relaxed, that now data is quite easily visible to them, probably, I think. So that way you can increase the font size also. Then talking about the view, say for example, it is, you can see grid lines. It is this particular checkbox is selected. So when I'll deselect this, you can see this would be the representation of the variables in the SPSS data viewer. Now once I'll click on this, again I have selected the lines. So this way you can see these grid lines. So this way, these are the various options available. Say for example, I'll show you how you can draw the graph, how you can plot the graph using SPSS. For that, you need to go to the graphs menu. You can go to the chart builder. So once you will click on this, it will open the chart builder for you. All the variables in your file would be listed at the left hand side. You need to firstly decide upon which type of graph you want to plot. So say for example, I want to plot a graph for my gender variable. So gender is a categorical variable. Appropriate graph would be the pie chart according to the nature of variable. So here you can explore different at the left hand side. I'm talking about various types of charts available in SPSS. Using SPSS, these types of chart we can draw. So suppose I have checked here on suppose I have clicked here on pie chart. Yeah, this is pie. So whatever is the variety available, it will show you at the right frame. Now you can double click on this. So once you will double click on this, it would be shifted to the preview window. Or if there is one other way, you can pick it and drag it to this particular screen. So that way also you can bring it to this particular preview window. Now you can shift your variable, that is gender, slice by. So that way it is showing you that these are the slices, or these would be the slices for your particular variable. Now you can click on OK. Once you will click on OK, it will land you to the output window, and it is showing you that this is the pie chart for the gender, where one is gender 1 and 2, that is male and female. So this is done. If you want to make any changes, that also you can do. For that, you can double click on this, and then it will land you to the chart editor. Then I need to double click on this. Once I double click on this, it will show me the chart editor. So you can see in the preview window, it is showing me the blue color. If I want to make any changes in this color, that I can do, but I think it is showing me the border color. So suppose I want to change the color of this slice. So the color of this slice is blue. I want to make it this color. So I can do that, and I can apply this. So once I'll do that, you would be able to see this color has changed now. So I can close that. I can close the chart editor, and I can see the changes in the output window. So you can see. So that way, some types of color changing, editing, formatting you can do using the chart editor in SPSS. So this way you can plot your graphs. Now talking about the transform menu. So I think I need to tell you this. I need to go to my file. This is the file. So here you can see, I need to check in the variable view. It is not defined. You can see in the T, there are 4 options. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Total 4, I think. Yes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So say, for example, I want to create one new variable. I want to record my T variable. So for example, I want to create a new variable, and I want to merge first 2 categories into one, and next 2 categories into next category, that is second category. So how I can do that? So for that, you can go to the transform menu. Here you can find record into same variables, and the second is the record into different variables. So I think from name itself it is clear. Record into same variables meaning whatever is your existing variable, it will done the recording in that variable and it will banish the existing variable, and it will create the new variable. Or I can say new variable will be, or the old variable will be replaced by the new variable. Then record into different variables meaning it will create altogether a new variable for you, and it will keep your existing variable as it is. So suggestive is you need to generally go with the record into different variables. So once I'll click on that, you would be able to see this particular record into different variables window. So here I'm shifting my t variable from left box to the right box using this arrow button. Now you can see it is showing me t, and then after that the assignment kind of thing is coming, and it is asking, it is showing us the question mark. So it is asking us if you want to create a new variable using this t, so what would be the name of the new variable? So for that you can come here at the extreme right side and you can write the new name of your variable. Suppose I have written t1, I can click here on change. That way you can see this. After that we can go to the old and new values. So this way one more box will be opened by SPSS. Here what we can do, just a minute. Here first option is the value. So suppose I have written here 1. Now this is the old value. New value also I want to keep as 1, and then I can add this. Old value is 2. I want to convert it in the first category. So I can write the new value would be 1. I can press add. Then the old value is 3. I want to keep in the second category. I can write 2 and then I can add. Then I can write old value is 4 and I want to convert it into the second category, that is 2. I can add this and I can press continue and I can press OK. So that way we will get a message at the output window that this recording has been executed by SPSS. So now you need to want to check this. So for that you can come to your variable data viewer window, and in the data view you can find this, that recording has been done or has been performed by SPSS. So now you can see 2 has coded as 1 now, 4 is coded as 2 now, 3 is again coded as 2, then 2 is coded as 1 now. So this way that we can create a altogether new variable using the existing data. So again the purposes can be anything, so that you need to decide upon that what type of recording you want to do using the existing data. Now moving to the analyze menu. This is, as I said, it is a most important menu, and all the statistical tests, all the ranges we will find here. So you need to click on here, and then you can see, if I talk about descriptive statistics, so which type of statistics you want to perform, whether you want to get a frequency table, that you can use frequency. If you want to perform descriptive statistics, that you can do. If you want to explore, I need to check the variable name income. Okay, so I'll show you here the explore option in the descriptive statistics. So I'm clicking on this. Now I have want to work with the income variable, so that I'm using, or that I am selecting and shifting it to the dependent list box. Then you can come to the statistics. It is showing you that this first checkbox is already selected. This is the by default setting. So if you want to see the descriptive statistics of your variable, that you can do, but if you will uncheck this, it will not allow you to move. So this is the by default setting, so always you need to go with, I mean, at least you need to check this box if you want to perform this explore option. So you can press continue. Then you can go to the plots. Here I do not want to see stem and leaf, I want to see histogram. So I can press continue and then I can press OK. I think this is sufficient. So I have pressed OK. You can see in the output, it is showing me that how many observations are available in this particular variable, what are the missing values available in this variable. So this way, this is the case processing summary. And then in the descriptives, you can see it will show you the mean value. It will show you the 95% confidence interval value. It will show you the 5% trend mean value, median, variance, standard deviation, minimum value, maximum value, range value. in quartile range, skewness and kurtosis, everything it will show you for the income variable. And then it will also show you the histogram, because we have demanded that we want to see the histogram for the variable. So this is what I have shown you in the slides, that in many of the cases we can also perform the, or we can also plot the graph for the variable. So this particular graph is showing that the income in this particular data is little skewed type of. So if you want to put a normal curve on this particular histogram, that also you can do using SPSS. For that you need to double click on this, so the chart editor will open, and here you can see at this particular toolbar, the second last option is the option of the distribution curve. You need to click on this, and once you will click on this, one more window will open named as properties window, that you need to close. You can check here, by default option is the normal curve. You can close this, then you can close your chart editor, and this change would be implemented to your output. So now you can see. So now you can compare the tails of this bell-shaped curve. It is clearly showing that the right tail is the greater tail as compared to the left tail. So that way we can conclude this thing, that the income is the skewed, or the income is not symmetric. So that also you can check using these median and the mean value, because if you are knowing the characteristics of the normal distribution, whether we want to check that income is normally distributed or not. So for the purpose, you need to check whether these mean and median values are little or very or almost close to each other or not. So here we can see that there is a far distance between the mean and median value. So these are also indicating us that the income is not normally distributed. Apart from that, if we talk about skewness and kurtosis, skewness will tell you the symmetry of your data. So if its value is in between -2 to +2, that way you can say that one parameter of normality has passed by the data. Similarly, kurtosis will tell you the story of the tails of your data. So if this again ranges in between -3 to +3, so in that case you can say this thing, that this one more parameter has been passed by the data. But in both the cases, skewness and kurtosis, we can see that these two values are not falling in that range which I have just said, -2 to +2 and -3 to +3. So that way you can decide upon that variable is normally distributed or not. So if you are good with these numbers or these statistical terminology, that way you can conclude, or either you can take the help of the histogram. This is also show you whether the particular variable is normally distributed or not. And lastly, you can see the box plot. So I think many of you are already knowing these things. So just for the brushing up purpose, I'm telling you this thing, that this is a box plot. Generally, we are using it for finding that whether there are certain outliers available in the data or not. So there are 5 things we can usually, or using these 5 things, generally we can say that the box plot can be formed. So what are those 5 things? The first thing is the upper whisker, then the third quartile, this is median, this is for first quartile, and this is the lower whisker. And if certain data points you are looking beyond these whiskers, so I think you are able to see these are the 2 data points which are exceeding, or which we are going beyond the whiskers. So here these are going beyond the upper whiskers. So that way we can conclude this thing, that the 2 outliers are available in this particular data set. So this is all. I think one more thing I need to tell you. Using this analyze menu, if you want to perform, just a minute, you want to perform, suppose, the t-test. So you can find this. One sample t-test is available under the compare means. Independent sample t-test is also available under the compare means. Then paired sample t-test is available, and one-way ANOVA. If you want to perform the other kind of test, that you can do using these general linear model and generalized linear models. Apart from that, if you want to perform correlation, that you can find here. Regression also you can find here. Dimension reduction means factor you can find here. Reliability checking also you can perform. Non-parametric test also you can find under the non-parametric test category. Then according to the your need and wants, various types of ranges of tools available inside this analyze menu, that you can find according to your purposes, and you can apply. One more important thing, if you are having certain missing values available in your data, that also you can deal in the SPSS, and you can find here that the missing value option is missing value analysis option is available here. If you want to impute missing value, I think you need to go to the transform menu, and using the replace missing values, we can replace the missing values in SPSS. So this is all from my side for this session. Now queries are most welcome. If you have any queries, you can ask me.
May I?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good e-
Ma'am, actually, you started from introduction and then literature review and then recent research paper that we can find. But so far as the SPSS is concerned, it's all about the analysis of the data.
Yes.
So the major gap, what we are finding is like a collection of data, how to collect,
Hmm.
because so far as the recent research papers are concerned, this is something dealing with the the analysis of data is concerned that we then
Pankaj sir, I think you're
collect
not quite clear to me.
from.
There is some disturbance while you are speaking. Network issue, I think. I'm getting only half of the things you are telling to me.
No, my question is, um, I mean, when it comes to SPSS,
Yes.
audible.
Audible, yes.
So yeah, so I just want to find out the kind of gap, because you said that we can start by introduction, then literature review, and then recent writing that is available. But
Hmm.
so far as the SPSS is concerned, we have to feed up the data over there.
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
can you please enlighten us on that how we can collect the data and how we can put?
I think, sir, this is not the part of this session. As I was told this, that I need to discuss that how we can do the analysis. Data collection is not part of this session.
No,
So
no,
you, I think,
that I got the point. But a
yes,
kind of gap which I am realizing is. But
yes.
anyway, another question from my side would be like,
But I think
uh,
question is, I think according to your question, whatever I'm understanding, you are talking about data collection.
right.
So, but I think data collection is not part of this session. I can only tell you that how you can perform analysis using SPSS and what are the applications of SPSS. I think this is the purpose of the session. Other way around, if you want to ask me something else, that I think most welcome, sir. So if you
Okay,
have,
okay.
so you can ask me whatever you want to, but I think this is not the part of the session. If finding the gap, so I think according to the topic, whatever was told, according to that I discussed.
No, you are perfect. So my point was with reference to analysis of the data on that SPSS software. But anyway, we will take time to learn that thing, because irrespective of the thing that you said that we are expert, but we are not as developed that expertise as you have
Sir,
on
actually,
the.
thing is, this is only my assumption, as I said, because we are not knowing each other. And according to me, I think every human being is equal. So that is why I said this thing. Probably you are knowing this thing, because I don't know the background of the participants. Or maybe there can be some people who can be good in these things. Maybe some people can be there.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Meenal, ma'am.
yeah, ma'am, we will get recording of this session. Is it possible?
I think, ma'am, that Amita ma'am will tell you. Amita ma'am or anyone from the RFI team will tell you that.
The recordings and links both are available in YouTube, and Facebook link is also there. So you anytime you can go there, and you can go to that link and go for
Ma'am,
this.
actually, I don't know. I don't have link on my WhatsApp. I think I am not in that particular group.
Uh, okay,
Received a
ma'am, we will
personal link,
forward.
so I'm going from that link only daily. But I am
Okay.
not in that. If you are already having some group or anywhere, you are sharing the YouTube links. I am not there actually.
Okay, okay, ma'am. You can join the link. I will see into that matter, and we will share you the link, YouTube link, as well as
Today's
Facebook link.
and yesterday's both, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, all days you can see.
Amita ma'am, I think rather than doing that, one suggestion from my side, if you are in that WhatsApp group, can you share that link in the chat box so that ma'am can join that group and all the information she can get from there?
Okay, ma'am. Actually, I have to open WhatsApp in my laptop. I joined from laptop. Just a second, it will take a minute.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I think we can take some other query.
Yeah.
So
If anyone
Pankaj
is
sir,
querying-
Pankaj sir, I want to come to you because suddenly it came in my mind because as you said, in 1.5 hours, I think I cannot help you out that how you can perform those analysis. I have taken previously workshops organized by the RFI on SPSS. Maybe in future, if some workshops are coming on SPSS, so I'll suggest you can join that. And in that, whosoever is the expert, they'll tell you that how you can apply the analysis on that. Because in 1.5 hours, I think it would not be a justice with the things. So I think I can only give you the clarity that how you can work with SPSS. So this is the little, yeah.
I will certainly join.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other queries?
एक्सक्यूज मी मैम।
Yes, Aarti ma'am.
हाँ मैम, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाह रही थी कि आपने एसपीएसएस के बारे में भी ये बताया था कि या तो वो हमें हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से मिलेगी या हमको कुछ फ्री ट्रायल्स मिलेंगे उसके, तो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि हम उसको एसपीएसएस को बाय कर सकें या उसको पर्सनली हम परचेज कर सकें, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता?
Ma'am, why not? You can do that. But as I said, it's a little costly software and even institute thinks for buying that. So that's why I suggested you, if you can explore in your connections, in your network, that if anyone is having that, so try to take its executable file and that way you can work with that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, I got the link, but I am unable to write in chat box.
So I think it is enabled.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Or disabled. I think it is disabled. Yogaraj sir is here. Sir, can you enable this particular chat option? Yeah. I think it is done. You can write, you can paste there.
Yeah, so I have already pasted YouTube link. Now I am going
You
to...
can paste the, I think ma'am, that link also, that
Yeah,
WhatsApp link. Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing one by one.
Yeah.
So this is Facebook link, which I'm sending. Then last one is WhatsApp link.
I think Facebook WhatsApp link has already is already shared by ma'am. Now WhatsApp link has already been shared by ma'am.
Yeah,
So,
on YouTube, Facebook,
Meenal
and
ma'am,
WhatsApp
yes.
link is there.
Meenal ma'am, you please select that WhatsApp link. You please click that and join the WhatsApp group.
How long we can get these videos from YouTube?
Yeah, ma'am, I have done. Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome, ma'am.
Fatima ma'am, it is already there. Means there is channel of Research Foundation of India. You can subscribe that one, and videos are available all the time, so you can go to that one whenever you want.
Yeah. Correct. So, any other query? Anything else you want to ask me? That also you can ask me if I can help you out.
Yeah, if anyone has any query, you can ask ma'am. Okay, so I guess it is clear, ma'am, how you have explained. So thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful session. I am sure everyone must have learned something new today.
I hope so.
Yeah, the way you explain the things technically shows your experience.
Thank
I
you,
must
ma'am.
say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.